chance to listen to the words, it says it's still inside of me. It burns inside of me. It's there. It's inside of me. No matter what you think, what you do, and I'm listening to the song. Whenever I want to get, you'll have your own little song that you listen to sometimes, put on the iPod, or you get in front of the stereo and you listen to it. Bobby Crystal has one of those 8 tracks, he plugs it in and he listens to it. I put this song on, and it can instantly bring me to this level. And the words are talking about Jim Dubel's life. I think back, I'm going to just give a little thought. Bobby mentioned New Beginnings. When I was at Palmer back in the 70s, Richie Klinger, who's supposed to be here tomorrow, he said to me, Jim, whatever you do, you beg, borrow, and steal, but you get those B.J. Palmer green books. So I went to the library and I read them, and I went and I put ads in papers. And back then, there weren't a lot of collectors that wanted, B.J. Palmer stuff, memorabilia and all. I happened to be one oddball. Me and a guy named Jim Sigfus, who collected this stuff. So I befriended Jim. It was probably 1976, give or take. I met Patsy Sigfus. We were down there at a DE meeting. And I said, I'm into the Palmer stuff. I'm over at Palmer College. And I really, really enjoy all the, our heritage, our background, our philosophy. And Patsy Sigfus was so sweet. She actually gave me a green book, one of the first ones I got. And I was reading it and vicariously going through the pages, and I couldn't get enough of this stuff. And you've probably heard me say this before. I read a paragraph of BJ. Anybody that's read, you read this paragraph. And you're at night, you read it, and it says, okay, power made the body, heals the body, comes from above, down, inside out, okay. And then you put it down because he has an analogy with it. The next morning, I'd get up and say, let me get that clear in my head. All night it was going through my head. And I'd read the same paragraph. And what I thought it meant the night before, it meant something else the next day. And I couldn't get enough of this stuff. It was not just a passion, it was an obsession for me. Anything I could get that had to do with the Palmer family, especially BJ, and our philosophy. Now, I wound up accruing a tremendous amount of green books. In fact, I had every green book that BJ or anybody else had written. There's a lot more written by BJ. Chiropractic back in the days didn't have any research, any verification. Or it wasn't just when you needed somebody said, let's go to a source. Where did you find that? And there was nothing. It was D and then BJ, and there was nothing written. So BJ started penning books, and that's where the green books actually came from. They started validating what he had and what he said. And they started doing light research. He'd write down a case study and put some stuff in there. And one of the first books I got, and off the top of my head, I can't remember the volume, because people come up with, oh, Dubel, you got it all, right? You got all the green books. What was on page 37 of The Known Man? Well, Jesus Christmas, who knows what page 37? It's like asking you when you took peripheral nervous system, what did they talk about on December 23rd? You don't remember. I'd have to go back and look in the book. But people would challenge me. But this particular book, in going through it, it was all different case studies. And it was probably written, in the 1940s. And BJ had a clinic. And he encouraged all his doctors to do research work and clinic work. And it was a little story about a boy that came in with his father who was having epileptic seizures. And I read about it, and the doctor at the time, the name escapes me, one of BJ's black tie doctors. Like we have our PhDs, our black shirt PhDs. BJ had black ties. These were all the people that were the PhDs at the time, the knowledgeable individuals. Well, this guy had adjusted this kid, and it wasn't a little kid, I think he was a teenager, but he had seizures, and his seizures went away. So he wrote it up, and it was in the book. And I read that, and I said, wow, wouldn't it be great to someday maybe have somebody that presents themselves in my office with some fixation that causes seizures. So I didn't finish reading that particular section of it. There was other things. I went from book to book and place to place. Years later, I opened up my practice. My first CA, to end the story, I started adjusting this kid 3-4 times a week. He became seizure-free. Got him off of the phenobarbital, got off of the bilateral. I adjusted him while Debbie worked for me for a couple of years, and they moved to Florida. And I haven't seen them, in many years. Every so often, our paths will pass. But I guess God gave me a gift. He said, Jim, there's something here that I want you to do in this life, in the time that you spend here on this planet. And if I'm going to give it to you in the very beginning, when you start this journey of chiropractic, I'm going to give you the understanding that I only pray and wish that each one of you could have. He gave me a passion, he gave me an understanding, knowing that every single time